George, we are officially live.
Evening, guys. Hope we are doing well. We are with you on this Friday night, just to keep you on your toes, really. Welcome back to the Arsenal Women Chat Show. We had a international break. We'll quickly move over. I don't
want to talk about it, okay?
So, talking about the international break, Matt, I'm joking.
Don't make me rant already. We're only like a couple seconds in.
Just remember, George, we've got two Scots in here.
Yeah, that's what I've done. Let me introduce you to my guests. First of all, Caroline, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Looking forward to the game on Sunday.
Should be a good one.
The last league game of this year, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Oh no, we've got Liverpool, haven't we?
Last home one.
Yeah, last home one. Laura, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Had some problems with my eyes, but they're hopefully being sorted out. So yeah, not that it really makes much of a difference because I can't see anyway. But
I was going to say, give it a couple of weeks, guys, and George will be looking right at everyone.
It's a miracle.
It'll be me guiding you guys. Mel, how are you?
I'm all good. For anybody who's eagle-eyed enough, there is a new, fresh addition to my wall of legends, which everybody before the podcast has had a lovely view of my arse as I've tried to fix my wall. So yeah, I don't really want to talk about the Scotland games, but this is probably a highlight. So that's the only thing getting me through the shambles that is the Scotland women's national team at the minute.
Yeah, no way, Pedro. Thank you to everyone who's watching the show. So we're gonna basically just preview the Aston Villa game. We will just stick to that. We're not going to talk about international. I think it's a bit too soon. As soon as we've got two Scottish people on it, and I'm not brave enough to do that. So
too fresh.
Basically, George doesn't want to listen to me rant for about 15 minutes to half an hour about how Pedro should be out the door with his suitcase.
And I don't want Laura or James to trip me up in the coronet on Sunday when they see me. So, yeah.
What kind of picture are you painting me, George?
Yeah. Well, if I start talking about Scotland's failures, it's not really well, is it?
Listen,
Laura would take over.
We're used to this.
Oh, George. Start off.
So obviously we first came back after the international break. I'll go to start with you, Mel. I think obviously Leah Volti looks like she's not available for Sunday. I think that's probably Kyra coming in. Would you say so?
Yeah, I'd say more likely we're going to see Kyra slotting in there. I think she's sort of, in the minutes that she's played recently, she has held her own and sort of proved that she deserves to be in the squad. Maybe not as a starter like Kevin Wally, but she is definitely that rotational player that we need. And I think given the minutes that we've given her, I can't see it being any issue with her slotting in on Sunday. I think if we hadn't given her the minutes that we had, I would be a lot more concerned. But she's very much proved that she's quite happy to defend, but unlike Kim and Wally, she is a wee bit more happy to push forward and sort of break the midfield and push up and sit on the edge of the box for any crosses and that coming in, which I think is something that we need in our game at the minute.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just laughing at one of the comments in the chat.
One of them, there's two.
I think I've seen the one about someone said, did Scotland qualify?
Doreen has made a very, very good point. If you want to keep your friends, don't ask about it.
Wait till you ask me to read out these comments, George, then the rant's coming.
I thought I'd just cover that one, so that'd be nice.
Darren's pretty good. What happened in the game? Asking for a friend.
Because to be fair, I'll be honest. I'm not really bothered about international, so don't bother. Laura, I'll come to you. Obviously, we'd probably be expecting a similar team to what we maybe be hoping to see out in Vålerenga on Thursday. Would you say? Obviously, maybe I think Steph Catley's been past fit. Sorry, I'll give her a rightful name, as Jack called her, Steph Caldini.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, most likely, to be honest with you, we do have that team going forward to Vålerenga. It's not really a threat, is it? I mean, Vålerenga.
Oh no! Don't do that, Laura. You've done it now. You've done it now.
To be honest with you, with the run of games that we've been on, I'm quite confident going forward that we've kind of started to settle in a bit, which is good.
Yeah. I don't know if this is actually official, but it does look like Rene's staying to the new year. So, which I could have told everyone that. I think they're not in a rush, are they, Caroline, to kind of and appoint a new manager really when Rene's doing as well as she is?
No, and why would they be? Like, she seems to have settled everybody in nicely and just given it a fresh. I don't know how it seemed. Like, a lot of what she does is similar to what Eunice did, but it just seems to have a fresh coat of paint. Do you know what I mean? They just seem a lot fresher and more awake, which is nice.
I think the difference is that Rene's actually good at her job.
There is that, yeah. She does make. I tell you one thing I do really like is she does subs in a timely manner.
Yeah, you never would have seen.
I like that.
Yeah. Like I'm still sticking to my rant. The last show that we played, I didn't think we played that well. And in the program notes, it said Jonas was the manager. So I'm just still sticking to that.
Jonas was secretly somewhere in the Emirates that night.
Yeah, unless he was doing the program notes, I don't know. But
so still be a fiver to make it seem like he still has a job.
That'd be a really turnaround of event, wouldn't it? Like, Rene's been on such a great run, and they give the job to Jonas. You'd be like, no.
Oh God!
Imagine. Obviously, back to you, Mel. Are you confident about Sunday, or where did you think there could be a bit of a hangover from the international break?
No, I think given the performances that we had pre-international break and a lot of our key players getting minutes in international break, those that play, obviously, with players like Kim, etc., retiring from the international squad, Pedro, blood's on your hands. I'm going to slip in as many ways as I can to slag this man off until we get to these comments and I can absolutely rinse them. But yeah, I think for them to be training continuously, players getting minutes but not overexerted with minutes. I think we've seen a lot of like the England girls coming on as subs rather than getting blasted for 90 minutes in physical games. Obviously, they had America. That's always a physical game between the US and England. Kathy Cool and that getting minutes as well. Frida getting a couple goals and assists under her belt. I think the minutes that they have played are positive. And like I said, they've not been overrun. It's very much been minute management from some of the international coaches, which you don't see very often, apart from Emily Fox, who's been running to the ground as per usual, but that woman will run until she can't anymore. But that might be some good old Emma Hayes, I hate Arsenal tactics, slipping back in on that one rather than her having the best right back in the world in her team. But we'll find out.
The good thing about that, though, but Laura Wienwright will get some minutes with Austria, so Emily Fox needs to come out. Then Laura Wienwright has had some minutes that we can slot on maybe in the last 15, 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd like to see her feature a bit on Sunday, to be fair. Like, if we're confident and comfortable in the game, say like we've got a couple goals lead, you can take Emily off, can't you, and then bring her on. I don't see why, if you've got the game won, take a couple of players off and rotate. So is there any comments? I'm dreading this. Mel.
Let me put my glasses back on real quick.
Gloria made a really good point about Sligo. He said, I think she gives the players room to make decisions and not decisions themselves and not so rigid, which I think is true. She's much more flexible. If the plan's not working, you can see her changing the plan, which I like a lot.
Yeah, you can also see that players aren't thinking in their head, like pass the ball up to the box, cross in, nobody's there, or pass the ball into the box, nobody's there, recycle, start again. Like you can see them trying little things that they weren't really trying.
I will never forget last season's Villa away game, and we were sat behind the goal, right in front of one of the corners. and the amount of times we saw the same short corner. I think we had, 20 corners in that game? We must have seen the same short corner right in front of us. And me and my friend were sat there going, this is the definition of insanity because this isn't working, but it's the only plan. Whereas that doesn't happen so much now. If it's not working, you see him change it up.
Yeah, see watching Katie McCabe's corners for Ireland, they're totally different to her corners of which she brings to Arsenal, which baffles me. Why? Like, that's the first thing I says to obviously James when I seen Katie take corners for Ireland the other night in the Wales game. Like, why is her corners different again at Ireland to what she provides at Arsenal? Like, I just don't understand why, if it's a backroom thing that when it comes to short corners for us, why the players just can't say, do you know what, they don't work for us. Just let us do what we have to do. We do it day in, day out. Just let us be. And we can figure out what else we have to do if it's not working.
Like we've seen numerous times as well with Katie Ireland. Like she'll take a corner and she'll put that ball right in on top of the keeper and she'll challenge the keeper. Like the
or into the net to save, faffing.
Like she put them into the back post and like you say, like that one of the World Cup just snuck in. And that's what we need to do. We need to start taking chances like that other than, like James has said, welcome to Arsenal. If it first doesn't work, try 30 more times. Which is very much the vibe with our short corners previously, not so much at the minute. We seem to have been switching up a bit. But back to these comments. Paula said, our resident Catherine Muller-Cool expert has put in the chat, Cool got a great assist versus Iceland, and that's 3 goals and assists in 4 games.
Oh, yeah, she did. I saw it. It was so good. Yeah. I saw a clip of it on Twitter. It was brilliant. Sorry,
hate to say it, Paul. Didn't see it, but I will take your word for it. Not that I think that you would inflate anything about Kathy.
No, it was really good. Like, definitely can vouch. It was awesome.
It's fine. You've got Caroline in your corner, so we'll take that.
A case of taking if Kyra gets tired, that we can then bring Cool on.
Don't tell Paul that. Paul, that'd be Paul's highlight of the weekend. That will.
We could lose, and Paul would celebrate like we'd won if Kathy Cool got
She's coming
on. Other comments. Hope we're all ready for this. Darren asked, what happened in the Scotland game? Asking for a friend. What happened in the Scotland game is our manager's a fraud. He might be up there as a bigger fraud than you on a side of fan. Hard to imagine, but just put yourself in our position for once. We're playing against Finland at home at Easter Road. Again, straight off the bat, shithole. I don't know why we keep playing there. I hate going there. I hate driving in Edinburgh. Can we please stop playing at Easter Road and grow up and go back to playing at Hampden? Thank you very much.
What's worse about Firhill or Easter Road?
Firhill had vibes. I might have had a broken seat. I might have almost died. But Easter Road was like being at a mass funeral. Like, I think the most energy I saw in that place was when they played Hot to Go was the first song at halftime, and even then there wasn't much energy. It was just me and Hannah performing the song for 3 minutes and 23 seconds front to back. So
rubbish.
Me and Easter Road have beef. We went out. We played defensive football. It was horrendous. I think we had like 2 shots on goal. Finland ran over us on our home turf. Pedro's then came out in his post-match interview, and when we played exactly the way we wanted to play, we played aggressive. Aggressive? My gran's more aggressive. And she's locked in a care home. I mean, the woman, like, baffles me. And then we decided, we'll take a 0-0 draw. We'll go out to Finland, where Finland have an unbelievable home record. It's December. It's fucking Baltic out there. They play on AstroTurf. It's probably going to be frozen, but we'll take it out there and we'll pump them out there. Wrong. We went out there. We got hammered 2-0 in the first, 15 minutes. Defensing was shocking. Erin Cuthbert missing in action. Put out a missing persons report for that woman. Same with Claire Emsley. Claire Emsley was already dreaming of the sunshine back in LA because her head was not on this planet. I love Eartha Cummins, but it's like the second coming of Manu Zinsberger at a certain point. She couldn't catch a cold. Our defence was shocking. For our player of the match in the home game to be Sophie Howard boils my noggin to new levels. That's not how you know you've had a bad game when your centre-back's your player of the match. Horrendous. Then after the game, when we got beat 2-0, the girls are crying. Claire Emsley's doing an interview, tears streaming down her face, struggling to get through it. Pedro comes out. Yeah, no, it was a tough game. The pitch was frozen. Why are you surprised? Why are you shocked? It's Finland. It's December.
Yeah.
It's fucking Baltic. Of course, pitch is going to be frozen. You've played right into their hands. They wanted that. They wanted a 0-0 draw away from home to then take you home and batter them. Like,
But
it's
then
mortifying.
But then again, he was an Arsenal manager at one point, and his excuses as an Arsenal manager were just as bad. So we should have been expecting.
I mean, if you want to circle back around to being the Arsenal manager, if you look at when he was the Arsenal manager and you look at when Kim left and fucked off to America for a season and a half, the only correlation there is the general presence of Pedro Martinez-Losa. He comes in as the Scotland coach. Kim goes, nah, fuck that. I'm off. I'm not playing international football anymore. So there's a common denominator here, and it's this silly Spanish bastard in a suit who doesn't know his arse from his elbow and thinks playing defensive football is playing aggressive football that's going to win us games and get us to major tournaments. We've not been to a major tournament since 2019. It's embarrassing.
I'm very sad for you.
Bring back, I can't believe these words are going to leave my mouth, but bring back Shelley Kerr. That woman at least had a backbone, and she would hold her hands up and say that we were shy.
Yeah.
Pedro's too nice, he's too friendly, he's too, it is what it is. It's not, it is what it is. It's embarrassing. We've been playing some of the best football we've had in years, and we can't even beat Finland. You could have put my team out there on Friday night to play Scotland, and we would have played them for a 0-0 draw as well. It was dog shit.
Who started this conversation? Because you just went out.
Anyway, back to the comments. James has said on Sunday, sorry, I'm going to try and take a breath, calm down here because I'm really raised. I'm never going to be over this. The man's a fraud. Get him out, effective immediately. If he still has a job by the time the next international break runs round, I'm going to be 2-footing people in the SFA. Oh, you know what? There's someone else who just came in my head. And I actually can't believe I'm about to slag her off, but Jen Beattie rattled me. She really, really rattled me because in her interview, both doing the punditry and before the second leg, she was like, yeah, Scotland are playing some really impressive football. Where? No on Friday. No on Tuesday. No away against Hungary. So, like, love you, girl, but you want a shot of these glasses because we're not seeing the same thing.
No.
Right, comment.
Darren says, my friend says he's sorry he asked lol.
He really should be. James said on Sunday it would be good to give a few players a run out. Laura, Katie Reid, and Kathy Cool, and name a few, give a few players a rest. I concur. It's coming into the end of the year. It's going to start weighing down on players, the amount of minutes, etc. they played, so it would be an ideal time to get some minutes into some of the players that haven't had any or haven't had a lot. Different James has also said it will be interesting to see who Renee starts alongside Kim, given that Leah is out. Kyra, I suppose. Correct. If it's not Kyra, we riot because we don't have another alternative.
No. I'm wondering when Kafaji is going to start getting a bit more action, because I'm so shocked we haven't seen more of her. Like, I realise she's, they take time. Sometimes people take time to bed into the team, bed into the league, whatever. But she's so good. Like, whenever she's come on, she's like instant impact.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm getting a bit like, oh, is she gonna like leave because we haven't, nothing's happening with her.
I don't know if it's gonna.
I feel a bit bad for her. Like, she's relocated and everything, and then nothing's happening.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you would agree with this, George, but I don't know if it comes down to sort of being like young and inexperienced.
Yeah, maybe.
She's not really played in a league of the WSL's level.
I agree. I think it's where she's still young. Just give her a bit of time. I don't see her leaving anytime soon. And that she would probably play in that 10 role. And just from my mate Dorian, Frida fucking Marnham, mate. You ain't getting ahead of Frida. Like, admit she plays.
Yeah, this is very true.
Just because I know Dorian. There's a story to this. So me and Dorian had a bit of it was a debate. It was a nice debate in a Wetherspoons at like 11, 12 o'clock at night in Warrington. About Frida Marnham, and ever since then she scored in every game. So she scored against Tottenham, I think. I even sent him a message. I tried to actually video call him just to be me, really. But yeah, but going back to Kafaji, I think it's still time. Like, I think people forget as well, like the summer is a long way away, but I think some big stuff and decisions still need to be made about Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah,
including some fan favourites who might not be that happy with players potentially leaving in the summer.
Yeah.
Drop a few names. I don't think people's careers are secure at Arsenal like Beth Mead, Steph Catley. I don't think, and I don't know, Catley maybe now, but there's still some big. Like, there's nothing to say. Just to piss the Scottish off even more after all that. Just that Kim Little might go or might retire.
Yeah.
I don't think that's that
It's not
far
out of
away.
question.
I don't think that's that far away from like what people think. I know we all joke around and say, "Oh, 5 more years or 10 more years," but yeah, I don't think it's as far away as we think.
Yeah, I mean, realistically on that one, I think once you see a player retire from international duty, it's usually only a couple of years after that you actually see them hang up the boots for good.
I think if Kim Little keeps continuing to play, it's a desperate play. Like it's Arsenal asking her to basically stay on. It's Arsenal basically saying to her, "Look, we can't do another season without you."
Yeah.
But if we're going for players like Keira Walsh, then Kim Little then obviously needs to take a back seat because that's the only player I can think of that's going to slot into that position perfectly fine.
Well,
I think with Kim as well, I could see her possibly doing what Jen's done, maybe a couple of years out in America.
I was just going to say, would she do a couple of NWSL seasons maybe?
Before you hang the boots up, because I think that was one of the main points from what I've heard from certain journalists that pre-warned me about the Gen V announcement coming, that the money that she was being offered, not even to be guaranteed minutes, because as we could see, she's still sitting on the bench and out there, but the money she was offered and the experience she was offered to go out there for a couple of years, a player at her age, she would have been silly to turn down. So I don't know if Kim would do the same route and then maybe come home, back up north, maybe retire there, or if she would just call it quits at Arsenal and go out an Arsenal legend. I think regardless of when she goes and where she goes, she's always going to go down as one of our best.
100%, definitely. I think Mead's the same. I have an inkling that Mead might go in the summer, but
I'm going to say something really controversial. I don't think Mead's actually been that good like this season.
She hasn't, and I think that's why we see her on the bench more often than not now. Like it's always.
I put on Twitter the first game of the season in the Man City game. I call it now that Beth Mead will leave Arsenal at the end of the season, and I got asked many questions. Why do you think that? Why are you saying that? How come? Like, you can just see when Viv's left, her heart's not there anymore, and I think to me, it shows that she's held a lot of grudges with the thing that came out about what's happened to Viv at the club, and to me, it shows clearly on Beth's face that she's held a grudge against that as well, and that's one thing for me that is why she'll be out the door at the end of the season.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. Sorry, George.
That's what I was saying. What people, I think sometimes they forget about also with certain players that look like they might leave. So Beth has had opportunities. I wouldn't say she's been a world beater when she's played like this season. I think, like I said, a fan favourite, there's going to be some decisions that do have to get made that you think, I don't... Like if you compared the two before the start of the season and you said, out of Beth Mead and Caitlin Ford, who you think would have more goals, I reckon most of us on here wouldn't have said Caitlin Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she made it her own, to be honest, like that position. I know. And then like going back to the Kim stuff, if you actually really break it down, if they sign Keira Walsh, the midfield three that you think they'd be looking to play would probably be either Leah Volti or Keira Walsh. And when she's back, Palova goes straight into that team with Marnham. Yeah. You're talking about, or if you're not saying Marnham, Kafaji. Like, I don't see. I personally don't see having the double pivot and you leaving out Frida or Palova.
Yeah.
Palova, you're not going to... We probably won't see Palova properly until start of next season for me. You might see her in a couple of games like towards like what happened with the others. But
Yeah.
I don't know what you got, like Mel. What you think? Can you like? I don't think we're going to see Volti, Walsh, Pelova at 10, and then no Frida. Not with how the goals that she's been scoring.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at the squad now, I think it would be, if we had that ideal situation where we had that selection to make, I don't think it would be a sensible decision to drop Frida. It's not only goals that she provides, it's assists, it's creativity. She's got that fire in her belly. Like, you can see that from the minute she steps on the pitch to the minute she comes off the pitch, she gives 110%, which I think at the start of the season was what we were saying a lot of players were lacking. She's one of those players that she's just got tenacity about her. Like, there's just something about her that you never know what you're going to get from Frida, but you know it's going to be something special. So, like you say, it would be a silly decision to drop her. To then have the choice between the four of Kim Little, Leah Volti, Kyra Cooney-Cross, and Victoria Pelova is a lot of clubs would take your hand off to have an option like that for your TDMs.
Yeah.
Again, I think looking at the fact that we were wanting to bring in Keira Walsh, we've brought in Kyra Cooney-Cross and sort of built her up into the player that we want her to be. Got her that experience alongside some of like two big name players. It points to me that there's going to be movement in that midfield at the end of the season. Be it Kim retiring, be it Kim going elsewhere, Kim then dropping to the bench when Pelova's back. Like, it's a situation that as a manager you look at and you go, I've got a class amount of players here that are top class.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, what the fuck do I do with them? Where do I can only put 11 of you on the pitch, and where do I put you? But I think, again, on the other hand of that, we've seen before how like strapped we've been in that CDM role. For us to have your two main players plus then one or two subs that can come in off the back of that. I think seasons gone by, we were begging for something like that, especially that season where Kim and Wally seemed to be taking turns and who was injured and who wasn't, and we were sort of struggling at CDM. But it's not a choice that I have to make, and I'm so very thankful for it because I genuinely don't know what I would have.
What do you mean you're not applying for the job? God.
Well, if George gets to stay, it'll be me and Laura at the driver's seat by the end of the year. So,
hey, any of us can do it well enough to get the sack. That's the truth.
Exactly.
It's all right. Yeah, we'll take care of the Scotland job.
We'll be winning the World Cup with me at the helm. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true. There's some good comments there. I think Dorian said Beth's been in the background more, but there's still a lot of through balls and crosses from Beth that go unnoticed, which I think is true, but they're not of the quality that they once were. They're not as effective. She's not having the impact that she used to, I don't think.
Yeah, they're not like the through balls and crosses that we've seen before that are ending in a goal. It's a through ball and a cross that's ending and trickling out for a goal kick or getting cleared or nobody's getting on the end of it. And to be fair, you can't really point nobody getting on the end of it on Beth all the times. It could be that players.
I'm going to be a bit controversial here, and it might upset a few of the ones that are like big on her. But I can honestly say Frida leaving at the end of the season as well.
Because banned from the show.
Laura's in the doghouse.
Well, I'm simply saying it because we seen not last season, the season before, that Frida was on fire, like, and then it dipped, and then all of a sudden it's like this major like comeback again. I could be wrong because Caitlin Ford's the same. It was this major influx of dipping, and now she's came right up again, but the only thing I can say in a player doing that is to simply have other clubs look at her to leave the club at the end of the season.
I also don't think she's got long left on her contract, not to stoke the fire of Laura's comment, but I think I want to say it's either this summer or next summer that her contract runs out. So
I mean, you can't say if a club like, say, I'm not saying Barcelona's going to come in for her or Lyon is going to come in for her, but you can't say if a club like that comes in for her, she's going to say no.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
those are the ones that are constantly making the finals of the Champions League, and a player like Frida, a team like those are somewhere that Frida would absolutely succeed. So she would. And it's sad to say that, and I said it when we started the podcast at the start of the season, when I started joining in, there is going to be major upsets at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you've got these fans that are like, no, but they're our favourite player. It's football. Your favourite player's going out the door.
Yeah.
I mean,
They never last forever.
look at us. Henrik Larsson left us. It was a heartbreak for us. Like
he was the first and only man that's ever broke my heart. Let it be known. It started and ended there. When that man left for Barcelona, I sobbed. I was only like 5 or 6. I actually can't even mind. But my dad told me, and I sat on his knee and I cried for about half an hour.
No.
and
Then
that
again,
was the man married out the window.
Yeah.
I'm like that with Zinchenko, but the opposite way. I keep crying.
The party when he leaves.
Yeah, no, I do get that. Like, obviously, I'm like one of Frida's biggest fans, but I do think, like what we said, like in the summer, this is where I think it'll be interesting. I think you'll see what sort of ambition the club are going to have when you see who they appoint, and you'll see like sort of the transfer targets they're looking at. Because like just for some names, like Casado at Real Madrid, there's no reason we couldn't go for someone like that. And if they're bringing in players like that, then you can think, oh, do you know what? They're trying to upgrade in the positions that they're not as strong in them positions. So say that you bring in, like you think you bring Casado, Walsh, and I don't know, like another say right winger or something. I think then you can say, well, yeah, they're moving the old guards and bringing in the new. I think they only get rid of Frida if they've got another number 10 who they can replace her with.
Someone in the chat just said, would Kafa G be ready by the time she leaves? Dorian
But then
said that.
that's a lot of pressure on Kafa G, because then it's just her on her own. Because who else? Like this is just me. I don't see Palova as a 10 at the moment. So you're putting everything on Rosa. I just think you have to. You like to have one or two players in each position, don't you? I know that's what 115 Charges SC do, but I think there's other players there that would probably go before. Like personally, I think we need a young attacking left back. It's just Katie McCabe's done well. It's not for me. It's not for me. I like what Laura said. There's some players that will potentially leave that fans would be upset about. Like Beth, could Lotta be one of them? I know that's controversial, but she can't get in. It's got to be bothering her that she can't get into a centre half partnership ahead of Steph Catley. Like that's Manu. She could leave.
I think she's very likely to go.
Yeah, I'm not really that issued by that.
Did you see the adorable video of Daphne coming back into training, being like, "Yay, I'm so happy to be back." It was so cute.
Manu's
I love
like,
that.
Yeah, great.
Dorian also just put in the comments regarding players in and out. He's just put Girma ? And I would sell my soul for that girl in an Arsenal top. I think she's unbelievable, but the amount of centre backs we have in our squad, I can't see that happening.
I know someone's mentioned Amanda as well, haven't they? Like, that's an interesting one. Like, I don't think if she was going to feature at all, I don't think you'd see her until coming off the bench till maybe February or March time.
At least.
But then, she's only just started her training sort of.
But I wouldn't be dead against, because I think her contract runs out in the summer, but I would not be dead against saying, oh, there's a 1-year deal. Just to cover yourself, because like, let's be honest, realistically, probably one of those centre halves are probably going to either go out on loan or leave the club, because you obviously got Leah Williamson. You wouldn't have thought she'd be going anywhere. Kadina's done quite well this season. I think she's been quite unfortunate, to be honest. Then you've got Steph Catley playing there. Then Katie Reid. Like, personally, I wouldn't be shocked if at the end of the summer you saw Katie Reid go out on loan somewhere to play regularly, or maybe even in January. And we don't know what Steph Catley's at. I know people, what we're saying, that she's playing every week at the moment, but that's at the moment. A lot can change from now to the summer. There's nothing to say that people like Catley and all the older players, some of the old players, are leaving. So you just cover your back that you don't got to go into the market for a centre half if you don't need to. Especially when we have better, more pressing. Like, I think a left back and probably a number 10 are probably more important.
Yeah. And going back to Amanda as well, one of the main things that she has as a centre back, which I feel that we lack in the squad at the minute, and we have since a certain number 5 is left, is that presence at the box and presence in the box at corners, that you look at her and just go put the ball in and stick it on her fucking forehead.
Yeah.
Because Amanda Ilestedt, that woman could find space in the most congested room you could ever find if there was a ball lobbed in for a header.
Yeah, she's really good.
So, as from a corner, to have a defensive player who can rise above everyone else, because don't get me wrong, she's tall. Like, she is tall, but she's also got that power in her that she can just rise up and just batter a header into the back of the net, which I think could possibly be why we're playing a lot of short corners at the minute, because we don't really have that tall sort of demanding presence in the box that, as a defender, you look at them and going, how the fuck am I beating her to that ball?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just reading James's comment. He said about 10 players leaving. We won't have a squad. I can easily see. I can see 5 players going. Like 10, I don't. I think that's.
I can see why you would say that, though, but because if you think about it, what have we genuinely won since we won the WSL in 2019? And most of the players are still in our starting 11.
We won the Conti Cup,
yeah. Like, we won, we barely scraped the title 2 seasons ago. Like, we 1 point, we
it was so close. It was the last day, wasn't it?
So, but we genuinely, if you look at that team and you think of the team that won the WSL in 2019, most of them are still in our squad. Which, to me, looking at that, a few years down the line, you've still got many of those players in your squad, whether they were on the bench or not, or on the pitch.
What I mean with that,
really any development has us, really, if you think about it. So the next major thing that you need is a major clear out of players, and you need to either sit that player down and say, A, you need to come in next season a better player, and you really need to think about what you can provide for our team, or B, you need to leave. We've seen many men's football teams do it, have a major clear out, and then come back better the next few seasons.
Arsenal did it at the end of the Emery. I said this when Jonas was on the cusp of leaving. I said this feels like the tail end of the Emery years with the men's team. It really does. And actually, I'm pleasant. I'd kind of steeled myself for the rest of the season being like horrendous, but it hasn't, to be fair. Like, she's, Renee's done a lovely job so far. But it does feel a bit like that. It feels like we need to have a bit of a sit down and a refresh, and they need to hire someone for the coach job that's going to do that, that's going to be prepared to do that and make the hard decisions. I don't know who that is, though.
Well, my thing is, though, with the players leaving, I do get that. But if everyone's fit on their day, I would say half of that team are newer players anyway. Because, I know what I meant. So, you've got Van Donselaar, who's kind of new, Emily Fox, Russo, Cadente, Palova. So, and if they signed Walsh, obviously that would be someone new. So that's what I meant. What I'm trying to say is that a 10 player if they're getting rid of 10 players, then they're not. I don't think they're going to be bringing 10 players in, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're going to be
You need a
relying.
refurb, but you need your core there as well. You can't just pop 11 new players on the pitch and go.
No, and
Go
that's
on,
what
then.
I mean. So people
Enjoy.
like
You need
people
that
like Leah
experience.
people like Leah Volti, I think are still quite integral to that team. Even Kate, I'll hold my hands up. I think Caitlin Ford deserves another chance as well. Like, I just wonder we haven't won anything really seriously apart from the Conti Cup, which is just, that's not where we should be at. Like, we was unlucky in the Champions League and all that stuff, but that's what I mean. Like, and that's what worries me. If they bring in a brand new manager, are they going to have the backing of the fan base when they make them bad decisions? I don't think that them big decisions. Whereas if it's Renee, I think she's got a fair bit into her, like, in her account to say, you know, this has kind of got to happen. Because Caroline, I'll come back to you. You know a bit more. So I was comparing the Renee situation to the Arteta situation. When Arteta took over from Emery and Freddie Ljungberg, he couldn't change himself. He couldn't change the way they played straight away.
No,
they were quite similar to them, so it takes time. So with Renee playing similar to Jonas, is it they're playing similar, or is it give her some time and then they might change the way they play?
Yeah, I think it could be. I think it might. I mean, you can kind of see it happening already, and she hasn't even had that much time.
Yeah.
They kind of are. It's starting to change, but I feel like it's really hard. It's really hard because she is doing really well, and like I said, I've been pleasantly surprised by just how well it's been going. I was expecting like pure chaos until they found somebody new, you know, but which does happen. You see it happen a lot. But I don't know. It's do you keep going with like Jonas Light, or do you bring in somebody with a completely different style and accept that it's going to take time? Like, that's your two choices. And the one thing I do like as a club is that Arsenal very much, it's in the club's DNA to not be like, oh, we got a new guy, oh, we got a new person, they've had a rubbish little run, we'll sack them. Like, you know, they generally do the club generally gives managers a bit of time, which I appreciate. Like, even Emery, when we could see that he was rubbish, they were like, no, give him a fair shot. And then when he was still rubbish, they went, okay, it's time to go. But do you know what I mean? I feel like, I don't know, it's a really hard decision, but I do feel like there does need to be a serious looking at the plan going forward. And it is a process and it will take time, unfortunately.
And it's one of the, Mel, I'll come back to you before we actually get predictions. I forgot about that. So I think it's hard as well, because when your team's doing well, like you're seeing at the moment, we're winning games. So people like your Caitlin Ford, your Frida Monham, Steph Catley, Beth Mead, them players who have been there a while, everyone's like, oh yeah, they're doing really good at the minute. But do we want good as a club, or do we want that next level? Because I still don't personally think we're near the level of Man City and Chelsea if we want to be winning titles.
Yeah, I think, like you say, like, it's all fine and well being like, oh, we're doing good at the minute, but you want to be going into a weekend, especially against some of the smaller teams where we know we struggle. Like we don't, like, you don't look at Chelsea fans going, holy shit, we've got West Ham away this weekend.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, to be a serious club that wants to challenge the league and want to win league titles and push on to the Champions League, you can't be sitting on like a Friday night going, oh, don't know if I can be arsed with this on like Saturday or Sunday, going down to Dagenham. Are we gonna go all that way for us to get humbled again by West Ham? Don't get me wrong, there's always going to be like giant killings in a league and a cup. Like, there's always going to be one of the smaller teams that comes out swinging and fighting for life and comes away with the 3 points. But you, like, when you see teams like Chelsea and Man City lose, they go, you know what, so and so wasn't good enough. As a team, we weren't good enough, and they bounce back the next week. Whereas we seem to be like, from fans online, you get, oh, it just wasn't their day. The girls are struggling, and like, it takes us like 2, 3, 4 weeks to bounce back. Like, I think it comes to the point as well where we need to be not pointing fingers, but holding players accountable. Like, we shouldn't feel that we can't be like, you know what, Kim Little wasn't good enough today.
I will
or Leah
say-
Williamson was good enough today without people being on your back, being like, "You're just saying this. You don't like her." Blah blah blah. No, I'm a football fan. I'm a footballer. I've got a football IQ. Like I know, like you have to be able to hold players accountable as well as managers. But I think we're not at this moment in time. We're not at the level of challenge of the league, and it's shit. Don't get me wrong. To have now been 5 years without us winning the league, but it just means that the longer we wait, the better it's going to feel when it comes back around, and that's me trying to be positive for once.
Sorry, Caroline.
It's one of those you look short term or long term, because like short term, Renee looks like a pretty good choice because she's doing okay at the moment. But you need someone that has long term vision, and Renee may well have that. I don't know, but it's not fair on her to keep, she's manager for the next block, so she's only got she can't look much further ahead realistically than what they, than to like Christmas at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So it's not fair on her.
That's why I would say that she get like what the club should do and say, right, Renee, you've got to the end of the season.
Yes, and give her a proper shot.
See where you're at with that, because I don't know what they're looking for. None of us do really, like unless someone's working at the club. But they might have a manager in mind that they think that is in another job at the moment that could come available.
Yeah,
like no one knows, or they might think it's Renee. Like, for example, Renee could be doing really well. Say every club has a bad run unless you're Chelsea, because everyone rolls over for them. Not that I'm bitter or nothing. I just hate Chelsea. And like, so most teams have a bit of a dodgy run. So that's what I'd like. Not obviously, I don't want us to see a drop points, but it'd be interesting to see how we bounce back from that. I would say the Tottenham game, Laura, was probably the first time I've seen Arsenal actually put a team away that they should be doing it as like we probably would be used to. Like you wouldn't see, like sometimes, like even when we played Juventus away, I know the home game was a bit more difficult, but that was kind of what we should be doing without sounding too cocky about it, would you say?
The Tottenham game was the first I've seen us have like smooth passing, being able to get a ball into the box and actually hit it in the back of the net. Like it felt like the way Arsenal should be playing. But then we go back to this whole let's do 15,000 passes before we get it into the box and actually have somebody on the end of it. And we've seen that in the last Juventus game. It was horrible to watch. It was passes, constant passes. Cut out the extra passes and we'll be perfectly fine. And as I say, when you talk about the Tottenham game, we've seen that. We've seen the quick getting the ball up the pitch and then the ball in the back of the net. It was perfectly fine. It was the Arsenal that we're so used to seeing, but not so used to seeing, if you get what I mean. But yeah, hopefully them being away for international break, we've got them back in, gathered a few thoughts again, and because it was the international break for us the last time was a big difference to some of our players. But sorry, to go back to Mel's thing about what she said about the whole IQ of football thing, that to me there's some people on Twitter and stuff that are like, oh, women that just come in as women's football fans and don't really get the whole gist of it's good to let some players go away from your team, as whether myself and Mel, I don't know about yourself, Caroline, but I've been football fans since we were tiny, brought up with football through men's, through anything. I mean, my dad did football and I was constantly with him with his team, so I'm constantly around football. I mean, I probably know more football than James does.
He does Sport Rangers.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's annoying sometimes going on and being criticised when you're criticising a player and it's constant. Why are you saying that about our favourite player? That's big pedestal for them, and you're just kind of like, maybe go back and get the football IQ that most of us that have been brought up with football when we were young.
Yeah, and I think as well, At the end of the day, I say this a lot. We will never know. Those of us on the outside will never. I'm trying to find proof of how little I was when I first got into football. My first Arsenal shirt was about this big.
Yeah.
I can't see that. It was like a 1-year-old size. But I always say this: we will never know what happens day in, day out in the in training. We just
it's
never
football.
will.
You never know the ins and outs of a club. You never know the ins and outs of a club.
Yeah, those of us on the outside, we'll just never know. We never will. We can speculate till the cows come home, but we don't know what is happening there day in, day out. So we have to put a certain amount of blind faith into these people, if you like, because we just don't know what happens. That's just the way it is. But also, we can analyze what we can see, but we don't really know. We don't really know what's going on, but we have to just kind of accept it somewhat as well.
That was good effort. That was good effort there, Caroline. 2 blind jokes. Same
I think going back to what people say on Twitter as well, I think a lot of folk forget at the end of the day, like, football's a business.
Yeah.
These women aren't going out on the pitch on a Saturday and Sunday for a kickabout and a laugh and a good time with their pals. Like, it's their job. The clubs have got to do what's best for them. Players have got to do what's best for them. Like, anybody who thinks that a player is going to sign for a club and stay at that club for the whole career is deluded in my eyes.
Yeah, it's so rare.
Excuse me, James Forrest has stayed at Celtic for a
to be fair, you have to feel that man at the Parkhead in a wheelchair. But it's like it's a business, and clubs have to do what's best for them to win leagues and win titles and get money off the back of that. But players also have to do what's best for them to get minutes and get contracts and be paid what they feel like they deserve to be paid. It's very much, even though it is a team sport, I feel like it is also at professional level. There's a degree of selfishness to it, because you can have a loyalty to a club, but if they're not going to pay you what you want, or they're not performing and doing what you want, then at the end of the day, you've got to put yourself first. Like, I think a lot of people...
It has to go both ways at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That seems to be like a key part of it that a lot of people seem to forget on the women's side of football.
At the end of the day, people forget as well. Like, we still have to go to work on Monday morning or through the week. Like, they don't pay. They don't pay for us to work them. Like, we're the ones paying their wages. Like, so at the end of the day, we have more of a right to have an opinion about how they play, or how good they play, or how bad they play. Or it's us that is putting our hard-earned money into their business, as Mel says.
And at the end of the day, this is why people become football fans and follow it and watch it, because it's interesting to talk about. It's interesting to speculate. It's interesting to say, oh, I wouldn't have done it like that. I'd have done it like this. Or it's part of the fun of it. It really is. So, and I love that, so many people have come into women's football and taken these players really to heart, which is lovely and it's great. But it's not, you have to just kind of get used to the fact that they won't stay forever, and it's just something you have to just get your head around, really, I suppose, especially if you're a newer fan.
So I'm gonna get your predictions, and then I'm gonna come to James's comment. James, I didn't realise Tottenham Hotspur played in Scotland. That is such a Spursy comment, James.
My only response to that comment, James, is mind the gap.
It's like having a Scottish Tottenham supporter. Don't worry, we're still only 4 points.
Even the dogs, like, shut up.
What?
Mate, we'll be having chats about that on Sunday, but we're only 4 points behind Aberdeen. Right.
We're only 4 points on Champions League football.
Just to prove my footballing credentials, that was my first Arsenal shirt. I don't know if you can see. Oh, it's gone really bright. Hang on, I'll turn the brightness down. It's very small.
Aww.
That was my first Arsenal shirt. So yeah, that's my footballing credentials.
Dorian just asked, he's like, Spurs, Scotland, what gap? Rangers are the Scottish equivalent of Tottenham Hotspur, in the fact that I hate them and they're shite. And what gap is how far away Celtic are at the top of the league compared to Rangers, who are struggling down in third.
And their trophy cabinet is just as dusty.
Exactly. They'll be like, oh, it's full. Look at the history. The history. Where's the recent? Anyway, moving swiftly on.
That was a good Scottish football primer, though. Thanks for that.
Didn't they share Jermaine Defoe as well?
Precisely.
Yeah. So, right, Caroline, what's your predictions for Sunday and your first goal scorer?
Well, my favourite scoreline is actually my friend's husband always sends us off to a match with a prediction, and he always predicts 4-0. So I'm going to go with 4-0. My first goal scorer is going to be Marnham.
Well, the only way is Frida. That's what it is. Yeah. Martin Odegaard's sister. That's how good she is.
Paul's just put in the comments, 2-0, Catherine Cool hat trick.
Nice.
One day.
One's getting ruled out. One's getting ruled out for being offside.
Yeah, one day he's gonna get.
One's getting chopped off. That's what's happening.
Mel, what about you?
I'm gonna go 3-0.
Yeah.
Not a Catherine Cool hat trick. Sorry, Paul. Who do I want to score? I feel like because we've just spent like a good 5-10 minutes saying like how there's the door, away you go. I feel that Beth Mead's going to score and just go get it round you. But I also don't see her starting, so I really don't want to think that we're not going to score until Beth Mead gets subbed on in the 60th minute. So I'm going to go Caldenti.
Ooh.
What I can see happening now is that Beth Mead's going to score, and then she's going to have a top on underneath, and it's just going to be our logo of the show.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Or now that I've predicted Mariona to score, it's going to be a case of Beth Mead starts and scores in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't be terrible.
No. What about you, Laura?
I'm certainly not going with my husband's prediction here on 6-1 because it's absolutely dreadful. But I'm going to go 3-0 as well, and I am going to go with a Kyra Cooney cross goal.
Yes, different. I like tonight's show. Different answers. What am I going to go for? No one likes Villa, so 5-0.
You're just as optimistic as James.
Yeah, but mine's blind optimism, and I'm allowed to get away with it. I'm going 5-0. Go on, Steph Catley.
Well, Aston Villa hasn't exactly been playing well this season, have they? We thought when we watched that first game against Chelsea, they were going to be a bit of a threat this season, but it seems like again they've just took that dip.
You know, circling back to Villa, Villa and their string of bad results, as well as Scotland, it all comes down to the fact when your captain decides to go and get surgery on her knee at a very pivotal part of the international calendar and mid-season. So that's just me getting in a little below the belt punch to Rachel Corsie and her horrendous timing of deciding to get surgery on her knee.
Really anything special though, but
get a couple injections in your knee and grow up.
She's not even that good at fantasy football. She was on 5 Live.
She's not good at fantasy football.
Yeah. She was on doing the men's team, and she was on 5 Live with Chris Sutton, and I think she
that's a nightmare duo.
Yeah, I think she captained someone like I can't even remember. I think it might have been like someone like John McGinn. Right. No offense.
That's
John
just
McGinn.
that's the Arsenal. Well, the Arse. That's the Arse / Aston Villa / Scotland bias showing through, like Jem Beattie saying that Arsenal were going to win the league.
Yeah, we still could. You never know.
Love the optimism queen, but
yeah. So yeah, that is us. Thank you for all the comments. Thanks for the obliteration of the Arsenal squad that we've got. Thanks for thanks for basically helping Mel with her therapy for Scotland. So
it could have been worse. She could have had 2 Scottish to give therapy tonight, but unfortunately I stayed. I remain calm for us.
If anybody wants to get in touch for any further rants, if you're in the group chat, you have got my number if you want to hear me drop a couple C-bombs. They were dropped before the podcast. I feel that we've sort of dipped her toe in the water with a couple shits and fucks chucked in there tonight.
Maybe we need to make this like a weekly thing, like Mel's Monday Moan or something, and we just get like a 5-minute voice note to listen to.
Yeah. Possibly. It might, depending on how football keeps going for me recently, it might end up going that way. But yeah, if you want to drop me a message and get a good half an hour voice note of me speaking about how shit Pedro is, can do that there. If you're on here from Twitter, you know what my Twitter is. The loudmouth one, who runs her mouth all the time. Scotland flag in her name. Drop me a DM on there. I'll quite happily rinse Pedro in the DMs on there. So anybody wants more of my chaos, please feel free to get
no, we could change the doghouse to Mel's Meltdown.
Do you know what? I think that could have been needed for tonight. I think that's the only two words that can be described for my rant on Scotland. And even then, that was just touching the surface. Like if we were to get into the deep dark depths of the water there, then I feel that the podcast wouldn't have been aidable.
I feel like Pedro gets sacked in the next few days. There'll be a national Scottish party, like street party in the streets, and it'll be Mel that's hosting it.
Probably. There's going to be a gathering outside Hampden to pester the SFA and the SWF to get rid of him, and I'm going to be at the front of the picket line.
We'll see like a Facebook event pop up. Oh, what's this?
Mel's attending. Well, Mel's hosting.
It was a
But yeah, so hopefully next week will be more Mel meltdowns after, because we like them. Thanks, Mel, though. Brilliant as always.
Thank you for letting me rant. Hopefully I'm not having a meltdown next week. Arsenal, my sanity's in your hands for the weekend.
Yeah.
So a lot of pressure, so good luck.
Yeah. So Laura, thank you. I'll see you Sunday. It's your birthday, isn't it?
It is true. My birthday on Sunday, yes.
So,
Monday older.
try and get the whole of the coronet to sing happy
Unfortunately, I've got to drive back to Scotland to get to work for Monday morning, so unfortunately I don't think I'll have any Jaeger bombs.
Non-alcoholic ciders on George.
I'm holding on to that.
That's just water then.
I hope it's Highland Spring.
So yeah, also, so I'll see you Sunday.
You will.
And I'll see James Postecoglou as well, I think.
Hey, he was good for Celtic. We'll know do
I was going to say, that's kicking him while he's down. A Spurs and a Celtic man there. Christ.
That's why I've done it, because I Caroline, thanks for coming on. You've been brilliant.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Are you at the game Sunday?
I am indeed.
Oh, cool. So we'll catch up. We'll be in the coronet early. So yeah, I think we should be back. Yeah, we should be back Monday. So obviously, please keep sharing, subscribing, helps the channel, and come on, you Gunners. Good night.